All right, here we go, guys. Episode 1 of Michigan Moto Recap. This is basically, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of this. Basically, my thought process behind this was to set up a podcast that the riders can come speak on each week or after each event type of thing. And just kind of run through the weekend, how it went for everyone and things like that. Obviously, we have like the Dirt Bike Download podcast, the District 14, the AMA podcast, which is great. I just kind of thought maybe getting a rider perspective, somebody like that's not affiliated, showing up and just racing, that kind of thing. Potentially get, I mean, ideally, I would like to get someone that has raced that specific event that week to come on the next week and we can talk about how it went. Obviously, this week it's just me. Episode 1, it's just me. It's kind of a little passion project thing I came up with. And finally, on July 3rd, as of recording this, I decided to sit down and just go ahead and record. I guess a brief intro of who I am. I'm Adam Jagger, slow guy, so 24 to, 25 to 34C. Basically do the District 14, Michigan, hare scrambles, sprint enduros, that kind of thing. I rode a lot as a kid and into my teenage years, and then obviously, I guess not obvious, but like a lot of other people, kind of lost. Basically just didn't have a bike, so basically didn't ride. And then also, like a lot of other people, hit my 30s, or late 20s, I guess, and decided to start riding again. It's that perfect age where you get a little bit of money and you get secured, you got a house and everything, you start riding again. So it's kind of my story. Wasn't very good as a kid, not very good as an adult either, but is what it is. So I figure for this first episode we can just, and these are going to be short episodes. I do another podcast that it'll remain nameless for now. But on that one we do like 3-hour episodes, but on here it's just going to be short. It's going to be anywhere from like a half hour to an hour. And I'll go over that. I have no problem talking a lot with someone, not by myself, but if I have a guest on that is, if things are jiving and it's good, then we can go for 6 hours if you want. We'll make it basically another Gypsy Tales. But I figure for the first episode we can just kind of go over the last couple rounds of the hare scrambles. And I'm probably not going to edit this a lot, so if I say I'm sorry. Don't kill me for it, but it is what it is. So, last 2 rounds were Tin Roof Flyers and then Valley Trail Riders. So, if you were at Tin Roof Flyers, then you know what went down. It was an absolute mutter. We'll start from the beginning. So, we lined up for our normal 10:30 start, and it got pushed back. And I assume it's because the kids were out. The kids were out pretty long. I was still watching kids finish laps as I left my truck in the pits to go line up. And then, so we get lined up. It's still raining. It's raining pretty heavily. And they end up pushing us back to 11. No biggie, whatever. I mean, I kind of wanted to just get going because we're already soaked just sitting there. But start at 11, so go back to the truck, sit, just jump in the truck real quick. That's the beauty of a crew cab truck is I have the big back seat folded up and I just have the little one down, so I just jump right in there. Rubber floor mats, dirty moto boots, it doesn't matter. So jump back in the truck, get out, 11 o'clock, go, line up. Of course, I had a brand new set of roll-offs, the 100% goggles, fresh roll-offs on them, and I got water behind them. And I think it happened because they were good to go when we first lined up, and then when we came back for the second lineup, they got water behind them somehow. So it is what it is. So I ran the entire Tin Roof Flyers race with my helmet, or my goggles spun around on my helmet, which was not ideal. So that being said, I got an absolute terrible start. I probably started damn near last, honestly. I was taking a lot of roost, no goggles. It's a mud race, so all those things didn't make for the best of starts, but what can you do? So then we get going, and like I said, I couldn't see anything. So the enduro cross is right at the beginning, and I'm no stranger to hitting the enduro cross sections. Like, I don't have a problem doing them. I try to look at them like pre-race walk and have a look, and then have a look at the bypass and kind of weigh my options. I kind of didn't like the bypass at Tin Roof Flyers because I didn't think it was very punishing for the guys not doing the enduro cross. So it also kind of ties in to, they just kind of did a big loop almost and then came right to the end of the enduro cross, which also tied into the guys doing the enduro cross. They would do some of it, but the way that the bypass came in, you could basically do the first half of the enduro cross and then just jump on the bypass. And I saw a lot of guys do that. I personally didn't, just because I don't have a problem really hitting the tire, like the wall and everything. Especially if I'm already in that line, I'm just going to go. I'm not going to jump off of it. But anyways, so we get going, and from the start, there's just guys going down. So you go through the enduro cross, and you go. Everyone that raced it knows this. So you did that part where you go over the road, and then you go down into this ditch, and the rut was so deep down in that ditch, and I saw a lot of guys struggling bad with that section. I basically just kind of threw the thing in third gear and just put my feet down and just kind of skied through it. So it wasn't too bad that way. Once we got in the woods, that it's almost like a clay. It's like a really sloppy clay that they've got there. And once we got into the woods, it was bad. I mean, I felt like my front tire, instead of being a circle, was more of a square. I felt like I was just pushing my tire around. It almost felt like the tire wasn't even spinning. But we end up getting through there. I guess lap 1 and lap 2, nothing too crazy happened. I saw a lot of people go down. And I guess before I forget, that is one thing from Tin Roof Flyers that I can kind of flex almost, is my bike did not touch the ground, as in tip over, crash, anything like that. It did not touch the ground one time out there, and I was so surprised by that. And grateful, to be honest, because I did not want those muddy grips. I did not. One thing I would recommend people do, and I'm going to start doing this, is when we know it's a mudder, or if it's raining, or anything like that, I will start tucking a microfiber towel, like into my waistband or something, for these rides. Because if I would have dropped my bike and my like throttle grip side would have went in the mud or something, I would have just been very upset. Probably wouldn't have quit, but I would have been close. So, end up, like I said, lap 1, lap 2 weren't anything crazy. I think it was lap 3. I ended up, somebody had jumped off the trail right before we went into the field where they had the speed, like radar sign. Right before we went into that field, somebody jumped the trail right there. And when they did that, they kicked a piece of bark, or like a section, not a piece, like a whole section of a like metal barbed wire fence. They kicked that out onto the trail, and I somehow picked it up in my rear tire, and I, it was bad. It was so wrapped up in there, and I was very surprised when I got it out. I stopped, kind of rolled the bike back just a little bit, and was able to pull it out, but it had wrapped up in there so bad that I lost my rear tire. I blew the rear tire, and then the rear brake, it must have just gotten some mud in there, or maybe it was when the fence had squeezed around the tire and the brake and the swing arm and all that. Somehow my rear brake got seized, and I thought I was blowing the bike up. I thought the top end was about to let go, but really I rode lap 3 and 4 with my rear brake basically standing on my rear brake, but not actually standing on it. So lap 3 and 4, I rode on a flat, my rear brake stuck on, but we managed. We got done. I kind of want to throw the results in here, so I do have them wrote down. So the overall, the PM, or I guess the entire day overall, I think that's how that works. So first place, Griffin Schwab, AA. Second, Cole Locker. He's in Open B, and he's always been fast. I remember last year seeing him pop up. Third place, Chris Galt, AA. And then for now, I will talk about, or I will give us the 25 to 34C, because obviously that's my class, so I have an interest in that class. I would leave a comment on this. Tell me what classes you guys would want. I'm only going to do top threes because I don't want to spend 1,000,000 hours per episode on just results. That's not really what we're here for. We kind of want to hear about the races themselves, the tracks, and kind of what guys can expect. A lot of new guys showing up to every race, so kind of just a little insight for them. 25 to 34C, though, was Nathan Kubek. And his overall, I think the overall for us is just the AM over. Yeah, it is for sure. So the overall for the AM for him, he got first in the class and then 10th in the overall. Second place, Mr. Greg Massaro, 12th overall, and then surprising, I don't know how, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. I ended up in third with 14th overall. So pretty good day, aside from being a pretty horrible day. I know a lot of guys did not have fun out there, but what can you do? If we rescheduled for weather, then we'd still be trying to finish races from 10 years ago. So it's kind of is what it is. Obviously, I'll take it. I've always been decent in the mud, or when we go, like back when we used to end up racing for like 3 hours, I would always be good then too. So kind of when it's really shitty is when I kind of like it, actually. So again, let me know down below or in the comments what classes you guys would like me to include or want to hear about, or that kind of thing. So excuse me. June 21st, Father's Day. It's going to be the last round that we raced. Valley Trail Riders always does Father's Day. Always, honestly, one of my favorites. I know a lot of people don't like that course, but again, it's kind of a rough one, so therefore I kind of like it. It's a tight course, like always. Very tight single track. And luckily, the weather was perfect, I would say. We didn't have a ton of dust, and there was only a few muddy spots. There was a spot where the bridge, which ended up like starting to break down, the bridge itself, towards the end, that part got a little muddy. And then further back, there was another mud spot, and I remember lap 3 or lap 4, they were redirecting us around the mud hole because a few guys got stuck in there, and which I'll take that any day. Them redirecting us is ideal because, as we all know, getting stuck in the mud, especially when you're already tired, that can be an end to your day. So, VTR, let's just talk the adult overall. Talon, double A, he ended up first. Chad, obviously, ended up second. And then third place, Cole Locker, again, out of Open B. So, kind of to be expected for the most part. They're fast guys. There's fast guys. And I know Talon is hitting the hare scrambles. Or, I'm sorry, the sprint enduros. He's hitting the sprint enduros this year. And I'm assuming he popped up at VTR because it's Father's Day. I think him and his old man rode the day before, or maybe they rode team or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's good. It's good seeing when the guys pop over from the different disciplines, I guess you'd say. And he's no stranger to the hare scramble, anyway, so I don't. It's not like it just randomly popped over, but again, back to 2534C. Greg Massaro, first place, and ended up 9th overall in the morning. Second place, Scott Patterson, 12th overall, and then third place, Damian Gustaman, in 15th overall. I know Greg and Damian, I believe they started together, and they were going back and forth. I remember we were standing there after the race because we were waiting on results to get posted, and I was able to overhear that they had a good couple battles. I believe Damien was saying, I think it was him. I don't really ever think I've talked to him in person, but I believe it was him saying that there was a kid down in like a ditch almost, and had his bike on him and everything, and he stopped for him. So I mean, good on him. Still ended up third, so he was still ripping for our class. And yeah. As for me, I ended up, let's see, start was pretty meh. It wasn't anything to write home about. I'm still kickstarting, so kickstarting in neutral, because clutch drag scares me, and I don't ever want to kick my bike a second time on the line. So I figure just to basically avoid a problem, I always just start in neutral. It takes just a second to switch to the other foot, throw it in first, and get going. But that being said, I do always start pretty mid pack. Got going, yeah. Basically, kind of just started picking guys off in the tight stuff, which, again, it's kind of my forte, I guess you'd say. The tight single track, I've always been pretty decent at. Not super good, but as far as like guys of my speed, I've always been pretty good in there. I ended up 5th, right? Yeah, 5th. 33rd overall in the morning. So we will take it. We got the cool Father's Day plastic sent home with us. So it's actually, I think, my second one from VTR, because I got 3rd in the snow scramble. What was that? 2024 or 2023? I think it was 2024. Actually, it might have been 25, because it was it's February or March, so it's probably 25. So it's probably not last winter, but you get what I'm saying. Ended up 3rd in the rubber open, or however they do their classes. Basically, I didn't have studs, so I just basically brought my dirt bike from the summer and just rode in the winter. Then VTR, yep, we got that. Another thought I kind of had for this, and again, this is just episode 1, so I'm kind of laying out thoughts and kind of hoping to get some feedback. That would be ideal, because that's the only way that it can be made better. Series standings. So Obviously, I'm not going to go through the classes and tell you the series standings for everyone, but if there is a specific, or maybe if you're just interested in like the overall for the afternoon race or something like that, you kind of want to just know what the series is shaping up like, I can start including that. Or if there's a bunch of 25 to 34C guys in here, and they want they want our series or our standings talked about, then it is what it is. I think I can tell you that third place and that fifth place helped me out. I believe I'm sixth. I think so. As of right now in our class. So we can talk about, what do I got on here? Upcoming round 6. It's going to be Raymond's Revenge at Muskegon Motorcycle Club. It's another good one. I know everyone kind of says that about every single round, but for the most part, they are all good ones, so nobody's really lying. But Muskegon, I have it wrote down right here. I didn't make the Hare Scramble in 2025, but I did do the Sprint Enduro there. I like that place. It's, they have a lot of elevation, they have a lot more elevation than a lot of the places in Michigan. So they have a few hill climbs there that are pretty good. If you ride Whiskey Creek, pre-2026, if you rode Whiskey Creek, it's kind of similar to that. There's not as much sand, if I recall. I don't believe there's as much sand as like Whiskey Creek, but they do have some hills, and it is a very good time. So I'm pretty pumped to go to that. That is going to be, today is the Friday the 3rd. So basically a week away. I think it's the 12th, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be a good one. So if you're debating on going out, or if you're on the fence, if you're already racing this year and you're on the fence of going to Muskegon and you haven't been there, I've met a lot of guys this year that have not been doing it long. So therefore, a lot of the guys have not been to each of these venues yet. So Muskegon is a good one. I would highly recommend going to it. Again, we can kind of say that for every one of them, but it is what it is. So next thing I have on here is Sprint Enduros. Obviously, well, it's not obvious. So a lot of guys, what they do is they try to run the Sprint Enduros and the Hare Scramble series. Now that is, it's ideal if you have like some support. So if you're a faster guy and you have some support, it's ideal. I for one am on a 3 children and a wife construction job budget. So therefore, I tried doing it a couple of years. I tried doing both series, and I ended up having to pick. So I picked Hare Scrambles. I like the Hare Scrambles a little bit more, again, because I think I'm better when it gets kind of rough. So when guys start getting tired, I think that's when I'm pretty good. I kind of lost my train of thought there. So yeah, I would be, if somebody raced like they did Rouch World last round, and if somebody wanted to pop on and kind of talk about Sprint Enduros, I'd be completely down to do that. I do like Sprint Enduros, but again, I can only, if I wasn't committed to the Hare Scramble series and kind of wanted to see where I ended up at the end of the year, then I would kind of just pop into the Hare Scrambles, whichever rounds I really want, and then hop over to the Sprint and do that kind of thing. But again, ideally, I would like to start getting people to pop on here, and we can talk about the race. It's a lot easier to talk and get thoughtful conversation when you have a second person. Like I said, I've been doing a different podcast for years now, and there's always been 3 or 4 of us on there, so it's not a big deal to hit, like I said, the 3-hour mark. But when you're by yourself, it's difficult. So That being said, yeah, if you race Muskegon next weekend and you want to pop on, we can talk about it. That'd be cool. I will have to figure out. It'll probably be on a Zoom call. So Zoom is free for if you're just popping on. I'll end up having to pay for it because we'll have to record, and they only let you record a certain amount of time for free, type of thing. So, but that would be ideal. I would like to do that. And then, yeah, like I said, I'm just going to kind of keep this a short episode. I can see we're at 25 minutes. I think it's a pretty good introduction and just quick recap on the last couple of rounds, especially since they were a couple weeks ago. Ideally, I would like to get these episodes out. Probably not the Monday, but maybe the Tuesday after the race weekend. A lot of our rounds are pretty far from me. I'm kind of central in Michigan, so no matter where I go, I'm a couple hours. Nothing's ever close to me. But, so recording on a Sunday is kind of not going to happen. But I think I can make Mondays work. I am with my fire department locally, and we do everything on Monday evenings, so maybe that might be a hassle, but there's only a few rounds left, so I can probably make it happen this season. And then if this continues, which I hope it does, because again, I think having the rider perspective and things like that would be beneficial to new riders and maybe even the people putting on races. And if they want to hear straight from the horse's mouth what people think about things, then we can do that here. But overall, I don't think there's really a bad thing to say about any of the rounds we've done this year. I don't really think there's... I think we're pretty fortunate here in Michigan. I think we have a very, very good district. They're very active, and I think for the most part we have it made in the shade for the most part here. So I don't think there should be too much negative that people would come on and say, but I would love to get people's perspective on the race itself. So yeah, just hit me up. I will... you can find me. Just find me on Instagram or something. It's Jagger. That's Jagger 495X on Instagram. Shoot me a DM if you want to come on. And yeah, we can talk dirt bike stuff and all the fun things like that. I'm going to end this. So, like I said, it's going to be a short one. I'm just by myself, and I just want to get this first one out. That way we can get the ball rolling and maybe get the gears turning in people's heads. And yeah, and go from there. So, like I said earlier, I'm going to try to get this up on Apple, but Spotify for sure. And make sure you follow the Spotify page, I guess you'd say. And then leave a comment down below. Tell me what you want in here, and tell me if you want to come on. Tell me what classes you want. If you want more sprint enduro stuff, you want hare scramble. There's a lot of cool disciplines in the state. I just went and watched some trials last weekend with my girls, and it was very cool. So let me know what you want, and yeah, hopefully we have a good Muskegon, and good luck everyone, and don't die. Try to go fast, but don't die. We all got to go to work Monday, so let's keep it chill. That's it.